R&B, African, old school, jazz, mellow, you name it. We've got it all on Freedom FM. Good morning and welcome to Freedom News Archive. Today is Saturday and it's March the 18th, 2023, and we are your presenter, Benjamin Quay Johnson,
Stephen Compton.
On today's edition, story making the headlines, the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia has announced readiness to speedily adjudicate all election cases in the upcoming October 10 general and presidential elections.
With barely 3 days to the commencement of Liberia's biometric voter registration exercise, the Global Media Network Center during the week made available BVRO's booklet to the National Elections Commission.
And during the week, the United Methodist Human Rights Monitor has strongly condemned the violence that erupted between the students of the Student Unification Party and officers of the Liberian National Police as a result of clashes suspect of the officials of government during the week. We are taking a short break. When we come back, we go in for details of these stories that make the news during the week. Welcome back. The full bench of the Supreme Court has announced its readiness to speedily adjudicate all election cases in the upcoming October 10 general and presidential elections. Speaking during the week at the official openings of the Supreme Court of Liberia at March 10th of court opening, Chief Justice Shannon York says the full bench is ready to hear all electoral dispute, regardless of multiple cases within the court. According to Chief Justice York of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice York says the Supreme Court will dispense justice in accordance with law without fear of favor ahead of the elections. There is Chief Justice Shannon York.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I conclude this address on the note that the opening of this March term on 4th 18, 2023 marks the peculiar silence and equanimity that comes before the storm of the general and presidential elections scheduled for the second Tuesday in October 2023. It is an undeniable fact that our election calendars are the most tumultuous and tedious times in the history of the Supreme Court. And even in these quiet moments, the storms of election cases or challenges are quietly brewing and gathering strength at the National Elections Commission and elsewhere, and is preparing to dash upon the shore of the Supreme Court docket like a monstrous wave. Be that as it may, the Supreme Court, like a light tower in the midst of a storm, is well fortified and judicially poised to hear and dispose of all and any election disputes, regardless of the magnitude of underlying currents. We are resolved to dispense justice easily without fear or favor. All we ask is that party litigants, political parties, independent candidates safeguard themselves with the best and astute lawyers who will exert their best in prosecuting or defending a candidate or political party's interests. This instruction is in consonance with the Supreme Court opinion in several cases, and I quote, it is incumbent on a candidate in an election to ensure that he has in place a qualified legal team so that in the event he believes that an election violation has occurred, he will be in a position to adequately take advantage of the law, especially with the time frame prescribed by the law for asserting a challenge and timely appealing from any decision related to the challenge, since electoral challenges are special proceedings which must be heard expeditiously. Unquote. And I have the citations here.
Says, however, Chief Justice Shannon York warned all politicians, independent candidates, in their legal representative to prefer it appeal, and if failed, the Supreme Court will dismiss all cases. She added that the Supreme Court will only adhere and entertain cases based on evidence and not political speculations. Here is Chief Justice Shannon York speaking once again.
In view of the aforesaid, we further caution all political candidates that if your lawyer fails to perfect your appeal, the Supreme Court, via a motion from the opposing party, will dismiss your case. If your case is shrouded with mere allegations, speculations, and doubts rather than evidence, the Supreme Court will reject your claim. As the elections draw closer, let it be known that this bench will only be moved by strong and convincing evidence and not political ideologies, crowds, or the recently created political slang of strongholds. The Supreme Court has consistently held that, and I quote, the concept of a candidate claiming stronghold over a particular election geographical locale finds no factual or legal basis in judicial proceedings, as it is completely doubtful, uncertain, and speculative in that Only the electors via their valid votes cast can determine whether or not a candidate is widely influential within a particular locale. Hence, this allegation being speculated and uncertain is untenable as voting in elections within our jurisdiction is done by secret ballot. Unquote. We will continuously uphold this principle of law in deciding election cases and will confirm or reject election results based upon.
For his part, Justice Ministers Musa deemed and deeming of the Supreme Court bar lauded Justice Yoke for their deliberations and showed their cordial working relationship with the Supreme Court in the opening of this year Supreme Court.
Legal aid program that has been so gracious.
We apologize, we can get that access. Let's join Stephen Compton.
With barely 3 days to the commencement of Liberia's biometric voter registration exercise, the Global Media Network Center during the week made available BV Arrows booklet to the National Election Commission, making the presentation during the week at the headquarters of the National Elections Commission. The founder and chief executive officer of the Global Media Network Center, George Wotu, said it is his institution's way of contributing to the NEC. According to him, the booklet presented to the NEC outlined 8 rules for a successful biometric voter registration.
We've come to the Navy booklets as our own way of supporting this process, the BVR process, which happens to be the first of its kind in our country. Those of our citizens that are selling rice, bring rice. We got starve here that need to eat because you are now working over, you are not staying here over normal working hours to do extra work. You are not being given a pay overtime. It is a national sacrifice you have chosen to make because you are the one facilitating this process. The ownership of this process belongs to every Liberian, especially our politicians. I say our politicians because I consider them being the first beneficiaries of the electoral process, especially those of them that will be fortunate to win public offices. So, Honorable, this is our own way of contributing to the process. Thank you very much.
Receiving the booklet, NEC Deputy Executive Director for Administration Samuel Cole lauded the Global Media Network Center for the donation. Cole added that there are still many Liberians who are keen in making sure that the country's democracy is enhanced, stressing that the booklet received will be used by the Commission in the making that's making the biometric voter registration process or success.
On behalf of the chairperson of the commission, Dr. Brown Lansana, the co-chairperson, Councillor P.T. Bradley, the entire board of commissioners, and the secretariat of the commission, led by the executive director, Anthony Singh, we want to say thank you for this laudable effort. I'm happy that there are still many Liberians who are keen to make sure that our democracy is enhanced. This might seem small in terms of the size of the booklet, but being in mind, this is a very important undertaking, especially intention to help the process of the biometric voter registration exercise, which is about to get underway at the 20th of March. The chair would have loved to be here, but she's out of the country. This morning, I went to the co-chair. She too would have loved to be here. Commissioner Dublé would have loved to be here. But as we speak, members of the Board of Commissioners are lacking a meeting with international organizations and some other stakeholders are working on the final document for the final declaration that is intended for non-violent election. So that's why the commissioners are not here, and they send me as a messenger to come to say to you that the National Elections Commission of the Republic of Liberia appreciates this highly. We always say that why the law gives us, the commission, the mandate to organize the election. Elections are run by the Liberian people, and we take into consideration highly the contributions made by stakeholders like you to this process. Because in the end, we should always appreciate that we are in the same boat. When it rocks with everybody. When it is sailing smoothly, it's sailing smoothly with all of us. And our best interest is to make sure that we serve as a commission credibly, transparently, so that the Liberian people will be continuing to live in peace based on how we conduct our affairs here.
During the week, the United Mentored Human Rights Monitor has strongly condemned the violence that erupted between the students of the Student Unification Party and officers of the Liberian National Police as a result of clashes suspected officials of government. Addressing press conference in Monrovia, the Monitor program manager Jefferson Knight described the actions of the student Representative Gray and Yeke Koluba as uncivilized. Knight pleaded to appeal to all students who are suspecting officers of the government of corruption to use the legal means rather than taking the law into their hands. Here is Jefferson Knight speaking during the course of the week.
Looking at the actions of all the parties involved, the students, attacking personalities of government officials because of quote unquote corruption, or this person has been involved in alleged corrupt practices in government. So once they go to the University of Liberia campus, then students will agitate and boo them and throw them out of the facility. I think is wrong. In fact, let us put it into context and condemn categorically the action of these honorable people who went on the campuses of the UL, including the various students who have been involved in different kinds of hooliganism in terms of jamming people away from the campus, people who they see as perceived corrupt officials of government and what have you, is wrong. We cannot use violence to solve problems. That is why we have the rule of law. Let us use the law every time, everywhere, and at all times to ensure that we solve problems. What has been happening on the University of Liberia campuses, I think, has been very chaotic. It has been uncivilized, barbaric, and it should not have no place within our jurisprudence, because of that place is a microcosm of learning, and we cannot use that campus that should be the light of the society to denigrate and get involved in chaos and all kinds of different upheavals, which have the propensity of undermining the democratic process, the peace that we enjoy, the reconciliation, and national development. So we want to call on the national security, especially the Ministry of Justice and the police, Colonel Patrick Sudu, to ensure that and to go deeper in, because we really want to know what is happening. We've been following the scenes, we've been following the situation on the University of Liberia campus of Capitol Hill. And most of the time, social media will flash and say, hey, SUP or STUDA or this group or this student movement is on the campus and jamming this person out of the campus because of XYZ. It's wrong. So we want to also encourage our students population, that whole issue about militarism and the militancy, to attack personalities because they own the grounds of the University of Liberia campus, and you perceive them as corrupt officials of government or what have you. I think we should desist from such practice and use the law.
He's the managing monitor for United Mentored Monitor Human Rights in Liberia. From this one, let's play you our music. This is the intent of the program, to play some Liberian music during this program. So let's play you this one. This is a gospel song from Grangida County. Okay, let's join Stephen Content with this one.
The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Labor, has successfully negotiated a reduction in the price of rice for workers of the Firestone Rubber Plantation Company. Addressing the workers' representatives of various sections and departments of the company during the week in Habel, Firestone, and Labor Minister Charles Gibson informed the workers that the government has success in negotiating the reduction of United States dollars from the price of rice being used to the workers by management. He said despite other costs named by the supplier to deliver the price to Firestone, including storage, SWAT had agreed to make the sacrifice to reduce the price of a dollar.
The leadership have been not satisfied with the price. They feel that what should be deducted from their pay should have a discount. So if someone went in the store to buy one bag of rice, first we get that person, is drink from the price they give somebody who went to buy 50 bags of rice. So on that hearing, we opened discussion with the management and the workers. And the management only provided us information on what they paid for the rice to swap. With that information, we cited swap to a meeting. And the president of that company, Mr. George Hu, the Lebanese man, he should have come with me on this trip. It's not too good. But he confirmed to us that the reason why the price is what it is because there are other things he does that is not part of the price of rice that gets on your table. The transportation of the rice. He said also when Firestone pay for the rice in bulk, there is an accompanying overhead that goes with bulk purchase, especially if it's being kept by the supplier. The supplier will provide security for the rice, fumigation to make sure that bugs don't enter the rice, replacement of damaged bags, loading, prolonged storage, as well as when the rice is coming, they can send 1 or 2 staff of the company to be here for about 12 days to ensure that the rice is distributed. And when that staff comes, they pay that staff GSA. After he have explained all of his constraints, he said, yes, we understand your side, but yet and still, you must understand the workers' side, because we were informed that the management been appealing to him to reduce the price of rice, but he insisted on the price that is being deducted from the pay was $34. So now it was government talking to him. It was not Firestone again. And he came to our office. We had a discussion. We gave him chance. He explained all his constraints. And after that, he said, yet and still, government is asking you on the interest of the workers to start some reduction of the rice. He said he made a few phone calls, and he said he can give you a discount of $1 for now. So it means that $1 times 8,000 bags of rice, that's $8,000. Times 12 months, 96,000 US dollars. It may look as $1, but you spread over 1 year, the workers here are being saved $100,000 deduction from their salary over 2 of them.
Meanwhile, Rodenik Bogoli, chairman, Firestone Agriculture Worker Union of Liberia, on behalf of the workers, lauded the Ministry of Labor and the management of Firestone for reaching the agreement.
This deduction is confusing. The management have told the people openly on a particular negotiation that they gave free bag of rice. So say it is free, that's why you see everybody calling that it must be on their envelope management rice. That one are free, everybody know that. That's why they are saying. And while the workers are paying for it must go directly to them, $33. They have said that to us. Want to again re-echo that. All I want to say, I said it to your predecessor, or Moses Colley. You are also responsive. Whenever I text him, he used to respond. Sometimes he called me, we talk more than 1 hour. He used to ask me what he wants to know certain things, and I can give him the information. This company, I believe the government of Liberia went into concession agreement, and that concession agreement is still living. In the concession agreement, the management of Firestone will provide jobs to the citizens, and we are the citizens here. The management of Firestone will provide health care, to provide education. That's a concession benefits for the citizens. Something is happening that seems to do away with the concession. I said it to your predecessor that something happened in Firestone, and he asked me, what's that? I said, we have been informed that the management of Firestone told us that wheresoever around the world the concession agreement operating, wheresoever the Greystone is operating, there is no concession agreement between they and company. All their work is done by contract. So they are gradually contracting the plantation. In the next 5-10 years, there will be no concession agreement because everything will be contracted. So we want to again bring it to the attention. Again, we are calling on your office. This is what happening. No concession agreement, and that's why they are fighting in the actual sense. They don't want no employee to be here because when you contract a farm, they gain, the citizen loss.
That's earlier you listened to the voice of okay. So at this moment we join Benjamin for some music.
I know
Leo Obadiah is watching us. Says, good morning, Freedom FM. I'm watching Bukanto. Hey, hi, Gumpa City this morning. Shafa Walker is also watching us. Thank you, Lord, for protecting me. The director of the National Fisheries and Aquaculture Authority, Emma Glasgow, says the Congress for Democratic Change-led government is significantly impacting the fishery sectors since 2018 through the donations of the free fishing implemented projects. Madam Glasgow says the We-led government through NAFA has donated several outboard engines, net and other fisheries implementing free of charge to fishermen and fishmongers across the non-coastal counties. Speaking during the week in West Point, during the official launch of the Ministry of Information Outreach Program titled Bringing Government to the People, the NAFA Executive Director told fishermen and fishmongers that history showed that President George Weah government is the first that has embarked upon improving the livelihoods of local fishermen and mongers in the country. Here is Emma Glasgow speaking during the week.
It's under this government that we're able to give subsidies to this sector. We give outboard engines, we give life jackets, we give fishing net for the women, and we give them some solar freezers, cutting table, knives. We building market. If you go right to over the bridge to Virginia, we got one new big fish market we're building in partnership with FAO. We're doing it in Buchanan. But at the first one we start doing it, by the time we open that one, then we'll put market all around so people can start selling on the streets. Because the international community say to sell fish on the street is not good, it's not hygienic, it's not clean. That also can regulate the dynamite fishing for people to stop chunking dynamite in the water. That they said can regulate it. That's what we're building the market, bidding for. So we'll be regulating the people, then I'll be selling the fish for public consumption. You see, all the things that can bring sickness. So now the sickness can come immediately, but after some time, the sickness can come.
In another development, Madam Glasgow had disclosed that plans are on the way by the National Fisheries and Aquaculture Authority to launch a task force for the purpose of tackling illegal fisheries, mainly the animal fishing by unauthorized fisheries folks in Liberia. According to her, NAFA is now setting up a national compliance task force that will that will include the Ministry of Justice, the Liberia Coast Guard, the Liberia Immigration Service, and committed to deal with the situations. Here is Emma and Glasgow once more.
They dynamite the big problem all over Liberia. We are developing a national compliance task force that will comprise of the National Police under the Ministry of Justice, the Immigration under the Ministry of Justice, the Coast Guard under the Ministry of Defense, NAFA, the local fishing communities, and we are going to consummate that document between now and July. We have developed a national call center, 6232, and we will be working with the police and with the local communities to help to tackle the issue of
The administration of the state-run university during the week with suspend campus-based politics during the course of the week. The university's president, Dr. Julius Nelson, in a statement issued Thursday, said the suspension is as a result of the many violent disturbances on the University of Liberia campuses. Dr. Nelson said students are mandated to keep in strict conformity to the pronouncement as violators who be severely sanctioned in keeping with the UL's revised student handbook.
As of today, Thursday, March 16, 2023, student politics on all UL campuses are hereby suspended until further notice. The suspension comes in the wake of the many violent disturbances on the University of Liberia campuses. Students are mandated to keep in strict conformity to this pronouncement. Violators will be severely sanctioned in keeping with the UL revised student handbook. Accordingly, no political group shall assemble or hold meetings or engage in any politically related activities on any of the University of Liberia campuses during the period of this suspension. The suspension affects political solidarity marches, political gatherings, the wearing of symbols and emblems, debating and promoting campus-based political groups, student protests, among others. At the same time, university administration condemns in the strongest possible terms the violent disturbances that erupted on the UL Capital Hill campus on Monday.
His UL's president, Dr. Julius Nelson, there speaking during the course of the week.
She not love me for money. The guy you see with me, oh, I'ma be mama head for me. The shoe you see me wearing, I'ma be mama head for me. The guy you see with me, oh, I'ma be mama head for me. I said the whatever you see with me, oh, I'ma be mama head for me. Be mama head for me, oh, man, everyone head for me. She not want to know, I already be by you. I go to you see with me, oh, I'ma be mama head for me. The boring you see with me, and I'ma give my body for me. She love me for love, for my love, my everything. Friday, Dima, oh,
Friday the Self Man, making the contributions here this morning. We'd like to recognize all those that are following us by our Facebook page, on our Facebook feed this morning. Especially Leo Obadiah for Gompa City, Nima County. And Shafaki Walker, who watched it off from Kogas Bay this morning. Let me say happy birthday to Mercy's Momolu this morning, or Chicken to Factory, as she celebrates her natal day today. Hey, my brother and friend, Stephen Jarr. And the president-elect of Mika Reporter Association, Mary J. Willett of OKFN 99.5. Good morning, brother. This is your nation #1 magazine show. Makita Reeves is watching us from Capital Bad Pie. Also, Roland Roland. He watching us from Asia. Benson Talu. Good morning, guys. And thank you for watching us this morning. Welcome to the Nation Premier Magazine show on Freedom 87.9.
Andre Okao, Georgie Putini, Utelo Yasiao, Ojo Mesao.
Let me say good morning to the director of news, Jeff Jefferson, who celebrated his first wedding anniversary. I'm told it will be celebrated on the 26th of this month. Congratulations to you and your darling wife.
Tracy, because of your people business,
Madam Jefferson.
take it better. The children will play here.
And my own brother Hika Gunda.
Saloma, Fox, Saloma,
And the Zana Union King.
Chicken Saloma, Loma, Fox, Saloma, Saloma.
And a belated birthday month. There was winning journalist Thomas Kojo Rula.
Exclusive from hotairdiara.com.
Okay, let's go strictly to our development. The Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia during the week formally launched its report containing analysis and budget from 2016, including the draft 2023 national budget, which has now been approved by the 54th legislatures with the same change. Addressing the major press conference during the week in Sinkat, Central Executive Director Anna Simiamian says the initiative is part of its efforts to independently track and mainstream accountability and transparency in the national budget process in making sure it works for everyone and not a selected few individuals and groups. The report, according to Myanmar, followed a careful reviews and analysis of the draft 2020 national budget process as well and expenditures for the year 2023. This is Anasi Myanmar speaking during the week.
Track and mainstream accountability and transparency in the national budget process so that it works for everyone and not a selected few individuals and groups. The report follows a careful review and analysis of the draft 2023 national budget, the budget process, as well as expenditure. Additionally, it covers media tracking and monitoring visits to selected locations. Bondua Town in Bond County, for example, to gather first-hand information from residents on budget performance and impacts. The report places a spotlight on efforts to make the budget process more transparent and inclusive, development projects and programs, underfunding of integrity institutions, and discrepancies in allocations and actual expenditure. Others include disparities in allocations to cities, zero budgeting, and recommendations for making the national budget more transparent, inclusive, and impactful.
He's Anasi Myanmar speaking during the course of the week.
The Ministry of Information during the week launched its community awareness in the township of West Point, District 7, Monserrado County. The awareness was launched on the theme of taking the government to the people. Giving an overview of the launched, Deputy Information Minister for Administration, Daniel Gay, said the initiative is aimed at taking government messages to the people in the community.
And so, on behalf of our Minister, Honorable J. Ledger Hureni, and the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, I launched this national engagement program in the name of His Excellency, Dr. George Manaria, President of the Republic of Liberia. Decided to launch this so that you should be abreast of the things that are happening, especially at a time where our country has become so politicized that people lie to the point of irrationality. We will give a tuition-free education, and somebody will be brave in your community, say they stay paying school. We will pave the road. Somebody will come and say it is the project of the previous administration that we're completing. We will build hospitals. They will lie and say no drugs in the hospitals. And you will not have the time, even if we are on air, you may not even have the time for the scratch card to call. It is just 1 hour. But today, we will afford you, we will oversupply you with access. An example of what will be replicated across the country. And it was made possible through the support of the government, through the Ministry of Finance. We want to encourage the Ministry of Finance to continue.
His Deputy Information Minister, Daniel Gayu, they're speaking during the course of the week in West Point, District 7, Monserrado County.
ES Sandy on the beat.
Lord, where you taking me from? I would not forget you. BT Johnson, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Jackson. Coming. You're watching us from FDS community. Good morning and thank you for following us this morning. Let me say good morning to Chairman Rade. Thank you for this song. When we listen or when we see rich people are dying, morning people have been taken to the graveyard. But a poor boy like me, see myself alive with the Ebola crisis. Lord, I'm grateful. Thank you for your protection. Like Mercy Mobile this morning, who's celebrating her birthday. Let me say good morning to my bishop, Matthew David Compton Senior, and the entire church member of the Evangel World Irish Ministry. Thank you, Bishop, for your mentor. Hey, T. Sylvester Yinsua. Good morning. Thank you for following us. We are grateful to the Lord for another Saturday. Not forgetting the CEO, Mr. Spoman Sin Sign. Thank you for the opportunity. And my own boss, Abraham Gosling Ware. We are grateful to the Lord this morning. Elijah Dawson. Good morning. Thank you for following us. Let me say good morning to my own mother, Mother Orita Johnson in Sino County, and my father, Nathaniel Shigbe, who's not faring well. Daddy, I wish you speedy recovery this morning. I know you're standing I'm informed that Benson Talu is fighting from District 15. Bishop Samuel Sion of Brewerville and Braniel Canton, Pastor Braniel Canton of Cowell. I'm told they are in love with his son. We'd like to say good morning, our mentor. And thank you for praying with us. For your son, your brother Stephen Canton. I'm fatherless, motherless, but Lord, you still protect me. Monday is our voter biometric registration. Liberian, let be peaceful. Help our National Election Commission in case of any eventuality. Let's protect our country. Let's pray for our country. I know you're fighting. Ahead of the kickoff of the national biometric and voter registration exercise, the Friends of Jericho Yogbos has alarm over what they term as alleged voter tracking by incumbent Representative George B. Sama. Speaking at the press conference during the week on the Japan Freeway, the chairman of FOI, John Series, alleged that the current District Number 12 lawmaker, George Dr. Sama, is tracking people from various districts to register and vote in District 12 come October 10 general and presidential elections. According to Series, the action by the incumbent violated 2014 amended law of the National Election Commission's election guidelines, adding that the voter tracking is illegal under the law. Here is John Series speaking during the course of the week.
Which is to inform the citizens of electoral district number 12, Montserrat County, and the Liberian populace in general that our intelligence bureau has uncovered a grand plan by the incumbent representative George B. Sama and some aspirants of the district to carry on massive voter tracking into the districts during the voter registration process. Mr. Sama, who got elected through the illegal act of tracking thousands of individuals from outside the district during the 2017 voter registration process, has again planned to do similar acts. He and all aspirants of the district intend to engage in the wicked act of making Liberians who are not residents of District Number 12 to register in the district. Viva! It is an open fact that Mr. Sama has lost the trust of the citizens of the district based on his reprehensible of abandoning the district since his election.
He is the chairman of Friends of Jericho Yagba representative aspirants of District Number 12, alleging that the incumbent is allegedly tracking voters in the districts.
And now to this development, the World Health Organization, Ministry of Health, and the American Center for Disease Control and Prevention graduated over 8,000 Ebola survivors in Liberia during the course of the week. Speaking at the graduation ceremony Thursday, World Health Organization country representative to Liberia, Dr. Clement Peter, said the Ebola virus created an everlasting mark in the lives of Liberians.
As a country, the government and people, this milestone. Indeed, from the previous speakers, Ebola was a disease of the marginalized people in the rural areas. It ends there and nothing comes out of it. In 2014, 2016, that narrative changed the history of public health. The Ebola outbreak in this country, Sierra Leone and Guinea, gave a new thinking in terms of epidemic, particularly Ebola. And indeed, the narrative that the survivors have, the stories that are being told, and many more, those who are there, it is shocking. But one thing is important. The country emerged as a victor against Ebola. Today is another demonstration that Liberia is writing another history by having all the survivor network gone through all the process of ensuring everyone is safe. So congratulations.
Also speaking, Health Minister Dr. Wilhelmina Jala extended thanks and appreciation to the World Health Organization and the American Center for Disease Control and Prevention for their continued support given to the government and people of Liberia.
It's a major milestone in the history of the deadly Ebola virus. It was a sad day when people contracted the virus, but it's a happy day that they survived the virus to be able to be part of a study. Not only is the result of this study beneficial to women, because if you didn't know whether you have it or not, you could give it to a woman, and we saw that begin the study. So thank you for saving the women. Thank you for the benefits and the light that you bring to Liberia, but this study will also benefit not only Africa, but it will benefit the world. So we salute you all. Now, we want to begin by just saying thank you first to the people that set up the Survivor Network, because it takes.
She's Liberia Health Minister Dr. Wilhelmina Jala Earlier, you listened to World Health Organization country representative to Liberia, Clement Peter, both spoke during the graduation ceremony of over 1,000 Ebola survivors during the course of the week. Well, it is back to you, Benjamin.
ES Sandy on the beat.
So, folks, this is how we like to conclude onto the editions of Freedom News Archive. But before we go, we'll drive you through story top in the news during the course of the week. The full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia announced its readiness to speedily adjudicate all election cases in the October 10th general and presidential election.
With barely 3 days to the commencement of Liberia's biometric voter registration exercise, the Global Media Network Center during the week made available BVR's booklet to the National Elections Commission.
Today's editions have been a pleasant and good one. My name is Benjamin Kwei Johnson. Bye-bye for now.